So, I've been watching Monday Night Raw for the past, I'm catching up with it for the past 3 weeks of Monday Night Raw, and I did it last night. And, I have to say, it kind of didn't have a whole lot of steam at first, then it really took off. It feels like WWE is using Cody Rhodes in a different way. The presentation, that's what I want to talk about. WWE is the way they're presenting Cody Rhodes is unique and it's much better. They know how to present Cody Rhodes much better than Tony Khan can, and that is the reason why Cody Rhodes is taken off. That's why they've got this idea that putting the title on him is good and pushing him to the moon and back. I feel that that was part of his deal, and I think that Raw has gotten better from what it was. I think that Cody will be a valuable asset, and I think that he's going to do his very best. I think he's going to give us some great matches. I'm really looking forward to seeing his matches. Um, Roman Reigns has done a tremendous job as a heel. I have to give him props for that. So I think Raw's done really good. For some reason, my DVR isn't catching SmackDown, so I haven't been able to watch it, which means I won't be able to watch it tonight. And most of the time, I just delete Rampage from my DVR because it sucks. There's only been one Rampage that I've really enjoyed. Out of all the shows I've watched of Rampage, and the rest of them have been just straight dookie. Yeah, I'm gonna use that word. It sounds infantile and ridiculous, but that's the word I'm using. Straight shit, gaga, senor. Um, since we're getting into AEW, let's talk about Kenny Omega, and let's talk about Disco Inferno, and let's talk about Lance Storm. Now, I don't know what Lance Storm and Disco Inferno's um, back and forth was on Twitter. But I have seen the back and forth between Disco Inferno and Kenny Omega on Twitter. And I must say, Disco Inferno is an incessant crybaby. Like, he whines on Twitter more than a grown man should. I mean, he is a giant pussy for all purposes. I'm no better off because I'm missing some teeth. When I say some, I mean a few. A few more than I'd like. So, anyways, back to the discussion at hand. I think that Kenny Omega's in the right for what he's saying. I'm really not a big Kenny Omega fan. Most people know that. Um, I'm not his biggest cheerleader in the slightest, but he's got a valid point on some of the things that he says on Twitter, and Disco Inferno needs to know his place. His opinions are far beyond anything of credibility. They're far beyond anything that's believable. I mean, the opinions that he shares on Twitter are absolutely asinine, and it makes me nauseous. I have to get off of Twitter every once in a while because these idiots on there seem to just regurgitate bullshit day after day after day. And then they like to play the victim and play crybaby. Everybody feels sorry for me. I feel attacked and abused. That's Disco's MO. I feel attacked and abused. Motherfucker, you don't know what abuse is. Sorry, son of a bitch. I feel attacked and abused. I seriously, Are you gonna whine every day on fucking Twitter over some dumb shit? Nobody wants to fucking hear you whine on Twitter. Not a damn person would miss you if you deleted your Twitter. I mean, for a grown man to whine incessantly on social media every fucking day about some stupid shit, it just makes me wonder if that person should be on social media at all. The answer is fucking no. Disco Inferno needs to stay the fuck away from fucking Twitter. I got in on some of that action on Twitter, and I gotta say, I wasn't polite because I kind of thought Disco was being a dick. He was being a dick to Buff Bagwell, and he was being a dick to Kenny Omega, and he doesn't know when to shut his fucking mouth. So, I mean, Disco Inferno was never really relevant in the first place. He was relevant maybe a total of 5 minutes. In the last 20 years, 30 years, whatever, uh, of the wrestling wrestling industry, and there's no credibility there whatsoever because he's never done anything worthwhile. He's never done anything in the ring that was a fucking accomplishment. He's never accomplished a fucking thing in the wrestling industry to make him relevant whatsoever, to make him think that he has opinion on maneuvers, on wrestling holds, on why someone's being pushed, or why this is that way, and he's just constantly bitching about the dumbest shit. So I've blocked him. I'm no longer going to participate in that fuckery. I just think that Disco needs to drop it. There's a lot of things on Twitter that bug me. Ryback is another one. Let's talk about Ryback for a minute. Oh, the things I can say about Ryback right now. I mean, if he could delete his Twitter today in the next 5 minutes and be gone completely. And not a motherfucking person is going to say, I miss him on Twitter. I miss him on the shitter. That's what he's been doing, eating potato chips on the fucking shitter, basically. He's virtually been fucking himself with his mouth. Kind of weird. How do you fuck yourself with your mouth? Well, let me explain this. Because Ryback is really good at it. I mean, his mouth opens and bullshit comes out, and it takes away any credibility, and it takes away his accountability because he has none. He has no fucking accountability for himself whatsoever. He's not responsible for a goddamn thing, because if he was, he would act like a grown fucking man. And attacking somebody, an elderly person, I don't care if it's Vince McMahon or if it's Jimmy Johnson, coach of the Dallas Cowboys years ago. When you verbally abuse somebody on Twitter that's an elderly person, it makes you look like a fucking scumbag. A fucking scumbag. How can you live with yourself by talking to somebody that's 76 years old like an absolute fucking ass? I mean, it just baffles me. Because I don't care what Vince has done in his time, whether it's been anything negative or anything positive, it doesn't matter. Because he's still a human being. And he may never look at his Twitter. And there's probably a lot of instances where he doesn't look at his Twitter because he's too fucking busy. He has way too much going on to look at his fucking Twitter. But the fact that Ryback told him, fuck you, and all this other shit, a scumbag, all this other crap that Ryback was spewing, it was just infantile bullshit. Ryback was making himself look like a dick, clearly. I'm sure he doesn't regret it because he doesn't have a fucking brain in that fucking massive skull of his. He's got a huge head and nothing in it but bullshit. It comes out between his ears from his mouth like diarrhea constantly. Nobody wants to listen to you talk, buddy. Nobody wants to fucking listen to you talk. Ryback is a piece of fucking shit, and so is that motherfucker Disco Inferno. Both of you need to stay the fuck off of Twitter and leave people the fuck alone. I mean, Disco Inferno is so irrelevant, and that means his opinion is also irrelevant. Nobody fucking knows you, dude. Because you were relevant for 5 minutes in the 90s doesn't make you anybody. It doesn't make you a fucking person at all. You're a human being, but that's about fucking it. You had about 5 minutes of fame for the 20 years of wrestling that you did. Nobody fucking cares about your goddamn opinion. Not a fucking bit. Nobody fucking cares about your opinion. And, this is a completely different podcast from me. I'm usually a little bit more lighthearted talking about actual matches. But I wanted to talk about some of the controversy that goes on with some of these guys. And Disco Inferno's really good at making himself look like a dumbass on fucking Twitter. And so is Ryback. And Ryback is more than a dumbass. I mean, he's just the scum of the fucking earth. If he went missing tomorrow, nobody's gonna fucking remember him hardly. And nobody's gonna fucking care that he's never on Twitter. Nobody's gonna say, "Oh, that Ryback is interesting. I miss him being on Twitter." Nobody fucking cares about your bullshit, dude. You're always flapping your gums about dumb shit nobody wants to fucking listen to or fucking hear. And the same thing with fucking Disco Inferno. The both of you act like fucking children on Twitter, and neither of you know how to shut the fuck up. I have a really good idea. Stay off of Twitter, because nobody's going to miss you. Absolutely nobody is going to fucking miss you. You are fucking irrelevant bullshit. That is what the both of you are. You've done nothing to contribute to society, and you've done nothing to contribute to the wrestling industry that's worthwhile mentioning or fucking remembering. So, in short, fuck Disco Inferno and fuck Ryback. Both of you can go fuck yourselves.